Alrighty, so here's a short video, hopefully, on testing tubes. So there's preparation involved of the tube, and there's the actual test itself. So let's cover that real quick. So tube testers have various sockets on them, and a few of the tubes can end up with bent pins, and those are usually miniature 9-pin types. So as you can see, the tube itself just has some somewhat thin pins coming out, and these can get bent. And same thing with the 7-pin miniature. Also, let's see, are there any others? Well, any tube. Oh yeah, compactron. Although that's not a compactron, that's a locked-hole tube. Compactrons have long, skinny pins, and those can get bent. So you don't want to be plugging in dirty, bent pins into your tube tester sockets. So that's the first thing, because you don't want those to wear out so fast. So you need a way to straighten the pins, and if they're super bent, you can use a pair of pliers and carefully straighten them, trying not to bend the pins too far, because you can crack the glass down at the base. And if you've got a this is a 9-pin straightener out of a TV7, you can push them in there and get them straight, and then you can use a brush. This is like a brass brush from Harbor Freight, and it's not too what's the word, tight or stiff, and you can sit here and you can clean pins without bending them and so forth. So I always do that with any tubes which I'm going to test. So that's the preparation sort of part, and the other thing is looking at the tube. You can look at the tube and you look at this guy and you say, well, it's got a lot of good flashing. It's the right color. It's not white. If it was white, the tube would have a vacuum leak. It's a lot of good flashing. It's solid. So this tube, it's got a lot of life left in it. If this flashing was really thin and you can see through it, then you're going to know that the tube has had a lot of use. So that's some basics there. Let's see. Actual testing the tube. Some tube testers, they draw a lot of current through the tube when you're actually doing the test. And for that reason, you want to get the tube all set up, double check the levers and everything else, and then plug in the tube, and then the tube needs about usually around 30 seconds or so to warm up. And then you can press the button, watch the meter move, and just take a reading, see if it goes up to the same spot, say 90, and then you can wait a few seconds and do it again, and then you'll know if the tube is warmed up enough. And just do that. Don't sit there and press that and keep it down for any longer than you need to do a quick test, because after 30 seconds or so, the reading you get is going to be the correct reading, and you don't want to sit here and just hold it down, because like I said, some tube testers draw a lot of current, and on some tubes, I've noticed, like a 12AU7, you can sit there on some tube testers and hold it, and you'll see the thing creep up, and you go, well, that's interesting. Then you hold it some more and it creeps up. But what you're kind of doing is that you're kind of overheating the tube, because it's drawing a lot of current, and the tube is getting really hot. And when the tube's really hot, that means the filament's really hot and everything's really hot, and it's kind of like a false reading. So don't do that. So let's see. That's testing the tube. So let's talk about this tester more so. So This tester is Jackson, and I do like Jacksons. They give you readings, test scores that are similar to what the BK707s and the other mutual conductance testers do. This one is not a mutual conductance tester, although it does use AC voltages to test separate elements of each of the tubes, and it gives the results that compare very favorably with the TV7s and the Hickox and so forth. But these are a lot less expensive, and they really work well. Okay, so let's look at the meter. You got a bad range and a good range, and you have a line. Line is for your power, and usually, I mean, it's supposed to be that bad is over here and good is over on that side, and how strong, good or bad, that's what you have. And over here in this question mark is if some tubes test really strong. Now, it's question mark because usually tubes don't test that well, but I'll tell you right now that 12AU7 Baldwin tubes that have the ridge plates, and they're pretty good sized plate, those when they're strong, they can test right up high like that. So let me see if I can find you one. Not there. Oh boy, come on, I gotta have it somewhere. Okay, I'm still looking. Let's see. No? Gee, oh man. This is nuts. Okay, found one. There you go. Alright, so this tube here is a Baldwin Sylvania, that's important, Sylvania 12AU7. And you see it's kind of like this ridged plate here, and it's a long plate. Those things test super strong, and it's common to have a tube test all the way over to the right. So these will do it. So you know that that tube isn't bad or questionable. But having a tube tester and you kind of use your experience and so forth to figure out if tubes are good or bad. Okay, so let's keep it going. So this tube tester it has line control, and when you turn it on, let's see, we'll start it with that set for 120. Turn it on, and the meter moves over, and for this guy to be more accurate, when you turn it on and set it, you want that needle to line up right with the line, and it's a little bit to the right, and it's it might be a little closer. So at this point, you would start with it right there. So we're at about 122.5, and depending on where that meter lines up is going to affect your test score. So if it lines up to the left, it's going to have a slightly lower test score, and if it lines up on the right, you'll have a slightly higher test score by about that much. So we'll back to there, and now we've got that set, and the line is as close as possible to the line on the scale. And then you find your tube, and you've already cleaned it, and you've straightened the pins, and then you find that type 12AU7 here on the test data scroll. So it tells you it's got type, and that's 12AU7, and it's got letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and it has numbers. So A corresponds to this A and the filament voltage, 12.6. And then B, C, and then D and E are 4, 9, and then 1, 2. Or 4, 9, and then for the next section of that triode, 6, 7. So this tube, the first section, according to testing here, which would be 4912, it'll read 0. So that triode is shot. But the other section reads excellent at 100. So we'll do that one there at 4967. So 4967 corresponds to B, and then C, and then D, and then E. So we'll do 4 on B. You move the lever to where it lines up, and you move 4, and then 9 on C, and that move the lever, and then you go D, which is this control here, to 6, and then E, which is this guy, to 7. That one right there. Okay, and then you double check that and leave all the ones at normal. And you got B4, C9, D at 6, and then E at 7. So that's good. So now we'll plug in the tube. And you plug that guy in. Should be able to plug it in standing up. And there it's plugged in. It's tight because it's a new socket saver. Alright. And got a gnat flying through here. Jeez. Okay. So now it's plugging in, it's starting to warm up. And then the other part on this test data, it says filament continuity, and it tells you 5. So at position 5 on this knob, this light, the shorts indicator, should light up, and that's good because that tells you that the filament has continuity and it's good. So let's go to 5, and there it is. So we can go all the way back down. We'll go down to 1, and then it says that you can, in the words of the operation, you can tap that pin tube some, and as you move it and see if this flashes. That's at 5, so that's good. 6, and flashing between switch positions is fine. It's supposed to do that actually. So we go back to 6, and we did our shorts test and our leakage test. The leakage knob has positions of 250 k ohms, 500 k ohms, 1 meg, 1.5 meg, 2 meg, and you'll usually want to leave it around 2, and see if you do have this lighting up, you can tell how much approximately by moving this down. And if it goes out, then the last time it was on is the approximate leakage. So I didn't see any lighting up there. And the last letter number on G for this 1287 is 30. So we set that to 30. And then we can press the push to test. And it's right around 100. And so that compares very similarly to a BK707, which I think tested around 96. So there you go. And that's the test for that section. So then if you want to test the other section, the numbers were 4912 instead of 67. So we'll put B, C, D, E. So D goes over to pin 1, and this one goes back, and E goes to 2, and then you run through this test again, and that's position 5, which is good. That's for filament continuity. And a little flash is no problem as long as it goes out. And there you go. Go back to 1 and press that, and it should be a big 0. So there you go. So that's testing of that tube, and that one's done, and we can pull the tube out, and there you go. So I think that's about it. Can put this back. Hey, let me get that one tube I was telling you about that tests super strong usually. Let's see what we got here. Okay, well, this guy, I've got it written 9696 on it, so it should test, I guess not as strong as the 120, but let's see what we've got. Make sure it's a 12AU7. Yeah, it is. So there you go. Putting that one in. Let it warm up a second. Let's see. Here's a 1 megohm resistor basically, and we're on pin 1. So if I was to go between 1 and something else, this guy should light up. So 7 pin and 9 pin are wired very similarly. You know, pin 1 here is pin 1 over there. So I can put pin 1, go to something else, and there's the thing lighting up. And I don't know if you can see that, but there you go. So, and then you can turn this down, see where it goes out, and it goes out around there. It gets less. So there you go. That shows you that the shorts and leakage part is working some. Yeah, okay, so it's warmed up. We can run this guy through. There's pin 5, which shows filament continuity. And there you go. So this is on 2. We'll put this back to 1. And you can press this button. And there you go. 96, just about. Pretty damn close. So there you go. Test row, pretty much like a BK707. Alright, so I guess that's it. Put the levers back to there, and we can turn it off. Well, I hope that's helpful, and catch you later.